stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. You know, I may have some new listeners or somebody who hasn't been here in a while, so let's just recap exactly what We Are Mighty is all about. I am your host, LaTanya, aka Mighty's Mama. And who was Mighty? Well, Mighty was my son, Miles. He was a little beast on the football field and the smallest thing out there. And his coach called him Mighty Mouse until he realized his name was Miles. So then he started calling him Mighty Miles, and it stuck. And as he got older, it was just Mighty, because Mighty Miles ain't as cool when you 16, 17, 18. Well, Mighty was taken from us July of 2023. Unfortunately, he was shot and killed. And as his mother, I could never have imagined the grief that I would go through. And I couldn't find an outlet, a creative outlet, just a supportive outlet to deal with my grief. And I felt like maybe I wasn't the only one. So I started this show. Now, I don't try to make it a sad show or depressing. And that's why our episodes are so short, because I don't want to spend a whole hour discussing, sadness and bringing people down. I was told once that my show's kind of dark, and that's not the point. The point is to let anyone who's dealing with grief, any grief of any kind, know that you are not alone, that there are ways to cope with it, there are ways to deal with it, and hopefully just help you through it and coach you just a little bit, or give you some helpful hints or tips or things to make your journey just a little bit easier. Because unfortunately, the grief journey, especially when it's the loss of a loved one, is a journey that you will be on for the remainder of your life. I wish I could change it. I've tried to change it, but it's not going anywhere. So how have y'all been doing since the last episode? I hope everything has gotten just a little bit better, because little by little becomes big by big. Those little steps just become bigger steps and help us get just a little bit further away from the hurt and the pain. At least we hope. I was thinking about the saying, time heals all wounds. And I used to be a big proponent of that saying. Would say it to people, just give it time, Time heals all wounds. I've even hinted at it on this show, We'll give it some time and we'll get better and we'll heal. But does it really heal all wounds? I ran across a quote, and it's funny because I thought this was a quote from a prolific Japanese prophetic speaker, or, someone up there with Confucius or something. And it turns out that the person was not a prolific speaker. His name is Itachi Uchiha. I think I said that. Uchiha, sorry. And yes, I have my little notebook today because I took some notes. But I found out that Itachi Uchiha is actually an anime character. So, but still, his statement was profound. And the statement begins, time doesn't heal anything. And I was like, wow. But it heals all wounds, right? But when you think about the way he put this together, kind of makes sense. Time doesn't heal anything, It just teaches us how to live with pain. That makes more sense. Because the fact of it is, as time goes on, you may feel like you've started to heal from that grief, right? But really, it's more like a small bandage on a large wound. Why do I say that? Because triggers. Time may allow that wound a little bit of time to heal, to start to get better. But the second there's a trigger, it's ripped open again. So there may be a little bit of a process of starting to close, starting to even scab over, depending on how long the process is. But the second you have a trigger, it sends you backwards. And the thing about triggers, you don't know when they're going to happen. You don't know how often they're going to happen, how close in proximity of each other, how many triggers you'll have in a certain period of time. So think about it. If I fell and scraped my knee and time has gone on, yep, that skin's going to start to heal. But say a week later, I'll fall and scrape my knee again. Now I've got another wound on top of that wound. And the healing process has started all over again. And it hurts a little worse because it's double the pain, basically, or double the injury at least. And then after that week, I've got a bandage on it. A couple days have gone by, and I fall on that same knee again. Now it's open again. It's bleeding again. It's painful again. Actually, the pain from 2 days ago hasn't even gone away. And I've added more pain on top of that. At this point, it's probably a little difficult to walk because I've hit this knee 3 times in a week and a half. And say, maybe even an hour after I just hit it, I have scraped this damn knee again. Now it's almost like it's never going to heal. I keep hitting it. I keep opening the wound. I keep adding to the pain. That's grief. You may go weeks, you may go months not having it affect you. And then that trigger, you've opened that wound again. Then you try to heal from that one. Try to move on from that one. Another trigger. It's opened again. But then what can be even worse is another type of grief along with that one. So not only have I scraped my knee multiple times, now I broke my arm too. Now I've got pain in a few areas. I got multiple wounds on top of wounds on my knee. I've got a broken arm. And I still haven't fully healed from other things. So does time really heal all wounds? It just gives us time to deal with the pain, right? The healing process based on the type of wound can vary. You know, the scrape on the knee may take a couple of weeks. The broken arm, depending on how you've broken it, that could take a couple months. And God forbid you start to heal that knee and it's getting better. The arm's in the cast and it's getting better. And you fall again. Is it that same knee? Is it that broken arm? Is it a new injury? Is it a new wound? Is it another type of grief? I've actually looked back over my life and realized I have dealt with a lot of grief going all the way back to childhood. And a lot of those things, I just kind of moved past past, because of course as a child you don't really understand how to deal with grief. I sing in church, right? My grandmother, when I was 8 years old, got up to sing a solo in church at the microphone, had a heart attack and died in front of her church. Now for me, I was afraid to sing. I didn't want to go to church because it took my grandmother from me. Now, of course, as an adult, I'm past it to where, I can sing and not have it trigger me as much. But there's still moments when I think about, wow, especially if I'm nervous. And since I lost my son, a lot of times when I get up to sing, I'm nervous. So now I'm wondering, am I more nervous because, grief can trigger memories of other grief? So am I nervous because I'm getting up to sing in front of people, or am I nervous because in the back of my mind I remember the grief of losing my grandmother who died doing the very thing that I'm doing? That wound from 40 years ago has been scraped again. May not be as open, may not bleed as much, but it's been scraped again. And realizing it is still there. There is still pain along with that wound of losing my grandmother 40 years ago. So I have to agree with this anime character that maybe time doesn't heal all wounds. It definitely is just a small bandage. And the worst thing is when you get to where you think you are fully healed. I am over this. And of course, the loss of a loved one isn't one that you can fully say is something that you have healed from. But we know that there's different types of grief. I still grieve losing my job last year. How? I have a great new job, but it was a significant pay cut. So taking care of my bills isn't as easy as it used to be. And when I get in those moments where I'm stressing over bills, I go right back to that grief. If I still had my job, this wouldn't be a problem. I was living comfortably. Paying bills was not an issue. How did I get here? I'm grieving. Still grieving a job that's long gone. A job that I don't even want to go back to. The pay? Absolutely. But a job that I'm not wanting to go back into the stress, the toxic environment. But the results of that toxic environment had me comfortable. And I didn't even realize how much I grieved it until someone from that job called me on my birthday and just said something about, oh yeah, at work I have to do this or whatever. And instantly I wanted to bash the company and bash my old boss. And I'm still grieving. I'm still hurt. When will I get over this? Who knows? But that time away from that job, which it literally will be 1 year in 2 weeks. So it's been almost a year and I'm still grieving a job. Not a lost loved one. Not a lost pet. Not something, I guess we'd say, tangible. Someone that I can touch, someone that I can hug. A job. And I'm still grieving it. So, like I said, it's not even just from your loved ones that the time still doesn't necessarily heal. The whole situation with my son, I'm going to court almost every month. And every time I have to look the person who took my son for me in the eye. It's difficult, but I know that I'm going to see this through to the end for my baby. But the way that that makes me feel, to have to look at this person living, breathing, waving at his family, my son can't wave at me. So I'm still grieving. Not just the loss of my son, the way that he was taken from me. I don't think time will ever heal that. I know time will never heal that. So it's crazy when you look at how we cope with things, how we accept things, and how we learn to live with the pain. And that's all it is. So I don't think I will ever use the phrase, time heals all wounds. I may say time heals some wounds, but I don't even know if it's the time. The science buff in me knows that it's just the skin cells growing back and the skin regaining its color and all of that. So time isn't doing that. That's just the process of the skin being rejuvenated. But when you think about the wound of grief, we definitely can't say that time heals that wound. So I'm going to have to strike that phrase from my memory bank. And it's funny because I just came to that realization recently. Because triggers come in all shapes and sizes. Triggers come when we least expect it. Different things can trigger us. I never even told anyone this until about a week ago. And that person was my husband. It literally is a trigger for me to go into the church where my son's funeral was. I go in and I see there's a screen that they have that usually has clouds and the church logo, but they also do those clouds when someone dies. And so when I go into the church and the clouds are up on the screen, I see my son's face the way that it was displayed for his funeral, even though it's not there anymore. I see it, and I am experiencing his funeral all over again. And that's hard. To not be able to go to church. And it's not like this is my first funeral, but this is my son's funeral. So I would have never expected that, but it's the truth. And I've been to how many funerals in my lifetime? I've lost family members. I've lost close friends. But it's something about that one. It hits a little bit different. It gives me anxiety sometimes, and I never know when it's going to happen. And it's very difficult to focus and enjoy service if you have that trigger looming over your head. And it's funny because I thought I was getting to where I was not letting grief affect me so much. And then just recently, I had another situation where I lost a relationship that was close to me. Completely unexpected. And I don't know if it's just the compounding grief, all of the things that I'm dealing with, all of the pain that I keep trying to suppress, because I couldn't believe how long I cried. For days. Only other time I did that was when I lost my son. So I'm realizing how grief really does make us a little more sensitive to some things. And it makes it harder to have that exterior that I know I used to have, that exterior that never was overly emotional. I think I was only emotional like that when I was pregnant. And so now to have it is almost a daily occurrence. It's upsetting, but there's nothing I can do about it. Even when I think give it time, that's not working either. So I really have to change my whole life. I have to get to the point where, well, just like you said, I have to live with the pain. And I'm trying. It's just so new to me. Even though I've been through so many different types of grief throughout my life, where I am now at this age, and maybe it's because I'm older, and now, as you get older, you start to have to accept your own mortality. And that's a fear. What if something happens to me now? What if something happens to my parents? Who will I turn to? Who will I talk to? How would I be able to deal with another blow? Because that's what I feel like. It's blow after blow after blow. And I'm a trained boxer, so I'm used to taking a couple hits. But some of these, my defense is not working. And they are knocking me on my, I'll say, behind. But it's tricky. It's tricky because, like I said, from one day to the next, you just don't know. That's what I hate, is that unknown. I wish I could get up, have my day planned, which I normally have, and have it go exactly as I have it planned, and not worry about this is going to trigger me, this is going to be said, and throw me completely off. And it's literally things that you least expect. Now, I expect if I go downtown near the building where my baby was killed, that I will have, a moment. So I steer clear of that area. My husband steers clear of that area. Unfortunately, I get invited to events and I still can't go because they're too close to that building where that party took place. But I don't expect to be driving down the street and hear literally a word. I remember my son said that word funny as a kid and be a blubbering, crying mess. Or even just out of nowhere, think about how much I miss him. Literally, no prompting, no nothing. Just, man, I miss my baby. So yeah, as of today, I don't think I'm going to use that phrase anymore. If anything, I will quote Itachi Uchiha, if I could ever remember his name. Or I'm just going to say, like that anime character said, because I'm going to butcher it. I already know. I didn't even mention the name of the cartoon he's on because I know I'm going to butcher that. So look him up. But like he said, time doesn't heal anything. And I forget to say the second half sometimes, because all I need to say is time don't heal anything. Processes may, It may prolong or distance you from the hurt, but it's not going to heal it. And maybe the sooner I accept that, the better, because I won't question myself as to why I'm not in a certain place. It's been almost 2 years since my son was killed, and it still hurts like it was yesterday. So yeah, that actually was a revelation for myself. So of course, it may help you. Don't look at it as time heals all wounds. Look at it as time may distance you from it, but time can also take you right back to it. Because it may be a long time, it may be a short time. Take that time and learn to live with the pain. And just hope and pray that that pain gets lesser and lesser. Because I'm almost positive it'll never go away. I know how much we wish it would, but that's grief. Once it hits you, it's a lifelong journey. I hope I've helped you. I actually helped myself a little bit tonight. But remember, as always, be true to yourself. And I mean that no matter what happens, no matter what comes your way, no matter what people may throw at you, be true to yourself, because you're all you've got. Be strong and be mighty. We're here every other Friday, everywhere you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on Spotify and YouTube. Still got that email address. I got some guests coming up soon. We are mighty24@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you, even if you just want to let me know that I'm helping you, because that means a lot. I'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.